Hello and welcome to lecture number 1. Today we will study the first of many topics which will cover a wide range of issues associated with American history. For this topic, we will investigate some of the characteristics of the first Americans, Native Americans. There are 3 primary themes to be addressed in this lecture. First, we will explore some of the common theories concerning the origin of Native Americans in the Western Hemisphere. Next, the lecture will survey the tremendous diversity among Indian people before and at the time of European contact. Many farmed, but others did not, so we'll investigate some of the similarities and differences found among native peoples. One final concept to keep in mind is the changing nature of Indian societies before and after European contact. Well before Europeans arrived in the Western Hemisphere, Native Americans adapted to their environment and Indian societies faced a great deal of changes. Historians and anthropologists continue to learn more about the origins of Native Americans each year. Some of those concepts will be discussed next. There are numerous theories and beliefs as to how Native Americans first came to inhabit what we now call North America. Based on archaeological evidence, most anthropologists and historians date the human presence in the Americas to about 35,000 BC. As the Earth experienced cooling and warming trends, it's believed Native Americans migrated to this region from the east. They migrated over what some have called the Bering Land Bridge. The next slide will show a map of this proposed land bridge. The arrow on this map indicates where the Bering Land Bridge would have existed. It was there because the Earth experienced cooling trends and sea levels dropped between 250 and 300 feet. As the sea levels dropped, the area between what is now Alaska and Russia were actually connected by land. There would have been an ice-free corridor over which humans could have traveled. Specialists theorized these migrations would have taken place over many, many years as people migrated southward and eastward, probably in search of food. In addition to these theories offered by historians and anthropologists, different Native Americans had their own beliefs concerning their early roots. In many cases, rather than a story of migration, oral traditions place the origins of Indian peoples in the Western Hemisphere rather than somewhere else. If you're interested in learning more about these oral traditions, you may click on the hyperlink below. One of the most important traits concerning Native Americans would be the tremendous regional diversity among different American Indian groups. It would be difficult to describe life in detail for all Indian people living in what became the United States. However, for now, we'll briefly describe how some Mesoamerican civilizations impacted native peoples who eventually lived in North America. The colors included in this map identify the different culture areas into which anthropologists have divided different Native American groups as of about 1500 AD. Notice the many different classifications used in the map. One of the most important traits influencing the development of the differences between Indian nations was the ability to produce food surpluses. This usually was associated with climate and particularly agriculture. While people first domesticated plants in the Middle East about 8000 BC, in the Western Hemisphere it happened about 5000 BC, not in North America but in Mesoamerica. This map identifies different Mesoamerican societies from about 1000 BC to the early 1500s. As crop surpluses were reached and elaborate trade networks developed, several large states were formed in different parts of what is now Mexico. The capital of one of the largest early states was Teotihuacan, which was located approximately 50 miles northeast of present-day Mexico City. Teotihuacan was founded about 300 BC. At its height, it boasted a population of approximately 100,000. It was a center for trade, and the trade networks extended throughout much of what is now Mexico, where one specialty was obsidian. It was also an important religious center as well, as shown here with its famous Sun Pyramid, the largest structure in the Americas until the Spanish arrived. Another major power in Mesoamerica were the Aztecs. The extent of their power is indicated by the light blue segments of this map. The Aztecs migrated from the north in the late 13th century and became a dominant power by the 1400s as they forced the people they conquered to pay large tributes. It's believed that approximately 300,000 people lived in the capital city of Tenochtitlan by the 15 teens, more than any city in Europe at that time. Here we see a drawing which depicts Tenochtitlan about 1519 at the height of Aztec civilization. It shows the Great Temple surrounded by several smaller pyramids. The Aztecs honored about 200 different deities. An elaborate irrigation system was established to drain marshlands, allowing farmers access to rich soil to produce crops for the huge population of the city. The drainage system also allowed for access to fresh water. At the time of the Spanish arrival, they were still expanding their empire in what is now Mexico. Now that we've explored some of the important Mesoamerican societies, we'll move northward, to what is now referred to as the Southwest. As we do so, we'll focus on traits of several Native American groups at or immediately before the time of European contact. The Southwest is indicated by the brown segment of this map, which includes parts of what is now the American Southwest, as well as portions of modern-day northern Mexico. The Southwest is characterized by a very dry environment, but farming was important as more drought-resistant crops were introduced. The basket shown here was crafted by Anasazi artisans, who at one time became the most powerful people in the Southwest. Between about 900 and 1150, Anasazi culture reached its height. One community was located at Chaco Canyon, which included several towns. The region specialized in processing turquoise and became a major center for trade as it was located at the juncture of several road networks. Here we see an overview of Pueblo Bonito, which was the largest of the towns, numbering about 1,200. The towns were set up very carefully so as to allow roads to be perfectly straight as they extended many miles in several directions to facilitate trade and travel between different satellite communities. Classic Anasazi culture declined by the end of the 12th and 13th centuries due to a variety of factors, but it's believed the most important concern was drought. It had reached its height during an unusually high level of rainfall. Due to lack of adequate water for crops, the large settlements were forced to dissolve into smaller clans. Now we'll move farther east and explore the eastern woodlands. The eastern woodlands include the green regions as shown on this map. Overall, it encompassed areas from the Mississippi Valley to the Atlantic Ocean. Many different societies developed in this area, but one new culture emerged about 700 AD, referred to as the Mississippians. They were full-time farmers and in some cases lived in very large communities numbering in the thousands. The largest such community was named Cahokia, near present-day St. Louis, Missouri. Cahokia was located on rich farmland and included a very large area, about 125 square miles, and about 20,000 residents. They were famous for their large platform mounds surrounded by other religious temples and homes for chiefs. This painting conveys the grand scale of Cahokia. After 1200, Cahokia entered a period of decline as archaeologists believe a change in climate and an overtaxed environment led to a shortage of food and other resources. However, not until the 18th century would a North American city surpass the population of this metropolitan area. Now, we'll explore another Indian group located in the eastern woodlands, but here we'll study a group as it lived at or about the time of European contact. The group to be studied were members of a confederacy of Indian tribes named the Iroquois. The Iroquois lived in the circled section of this map, essentially in parts of what is now western New York and Pennsylvania. The Iroquois included a unique political organization. They were not one Indian tribe, but in fact a confederation of 5 different tribes which included the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca. In 1600 it's estimated they numbered about 10,000.